M1 Finance has rolled out a bunch of changes this year. Some help you to make money, and some will cost you money. Let's go over all those so you know what to expect. Plus, I'll check on my M1 credit card cashback and see if what they've promised when it comes to cashback rewards is actually true. The first update is one in the app, and it gives you more detailed stock information. M1 Finance has always been kind of on the basic side, and I haven't had a problem with that personally, but I think that there are people who are looking for a little bit more granular detail. And so they added some different stuff to these categories like trading, pricing, fundamentals. In trading, they added average daily trading volume. In pricing, they added today's open price and a 52-week range of price. In fundamentals, they added earnings per share. In a risk category, they added the beta, and there's a few others. Data nerds rejoice. The second update is that M1 has made transfers from other brokerages a little bit easier. They've added this new tool that they're calling Automated Customer Account Transfer Wizard. And so what that means is just within the app, you can request a brokerage transfer. Now, when I transferred some stuff before in the past, like 2 years ago, I had to call both brokerages and get that set up. It was not super slick. So if this is as slick as they promise, that would be really nice. I know I don't like waiting on a phone call to talk to customer service. You probably don't either. Number 3, they've reorganized how they show you holdings outside of your pie. And all that means is if you've got money in there that's not invested in a pie, then they're showing you that in a different way and they're giving you a little more control, which is nice. First of all, the way that they show you that is different. So whenever you open the app, it kind of shows you that at the top of the screen, like, hey, you have this money, it's not in a pie, it's not doing anything for you. We want to make you aware of this. That's fine. I like that being more in my face. Also, apparently before they had this thing where your account needed to be paused for some reason, but now they've changed it. So you have access to your investments as soon as they arrive in your M1 account. So if you wanted to, you could act on that right away and do things a little bit quicker. I think people would like that. And the third part of this is one thing that I have noticed, which is it says your performance start date won't reset. So whenever you do a transfer from a different company into M1 Finance, like if you were closing a Robinhood account and you wanted to take all that money and put it into M1 Finance, normally when you did that, it sort of reset your performance. So whenever you looked up M1 Finance, it would say like, oh, you're up 10% or whatever. After you do that transfer, it resets it. And so that was kind of a bummer because you lost that information and you lost kind of how you were doing. Not that that helps you really to know, but you know, it's just fun to know. Now, apparently, whenever you transfer it into an existing account, it doesn't reset that kind of performance start date for that account. So that's great. I wish they would have done that before I transferred an account over. The fourth update is a new account overview. This is a good update. It shows you all your balances across M1 Finance in one screen so you can see them at a glance. I really like how clean and simple this is. It lets you know where everything stands, and I appreciate that. The fifth update is in regards to borrow. They make it easier, but it's also more expensive. They made it easier by lowering the minimum amount that you need invested in an M1 account to be able to access this margin. So margin is where you borrow money against the value of your investments. Just like you could take out a home equity loan against the value of your house, you can take out money against your investments. If somehow something goes wrong, they just take your money. It's kind of a similar thing. You're using your investment money as collateral. That limit used to be higher. They used to make you have more money in there to be able to then use margin. Now they've lowered it down to $2,000. So if you have at least $2,000 invested, you can access this M1 borrow feature. And then of that $2,000 minimum, you can borrow up to 40% of the portfolio's equity. So they're making this a lot more accessible to people, which they probably want. I mean, people probably want this feature. M1 also wants it because they'll make more money this way. So I guess we're all getting what we want. But M1 Finance has also raised the rates. So if you're not an M1 Plus member, if you're not paying that $99 a year to get the extra features, this is going to cost you 4.25% per year to borrow this money. If you are an M1 Plus member, it's up to 2.75% per year. And that rate was recently raised from 2%, which is when I started using Borrow. So that's been quite a jump here recently. And it's not just something happening in M1, it's happening across the board. Mortgage rates are up, all kinds of different borrowing rates are up across different kind of banks and things like that. So it's not that much of a shock that M1 Finance raised their rate. Also, it's just kind of a bummer because it's gotten more expensive for us to borrow money. The sixth update is that there's new M1 owner's credit card brands. So the way that card worked was if you were invested in the companies that then you bought stuff from with the credit card, then you got a bigger reward for doing that shopping than if you didn't have that investment going on. So what I did to try and make this as easy as possible was make a dedicated pie with M1 that anybody could invest with. It's in the description if you want to see it. And it has all the companies in there that you need to be able to use the credit card and get all the maximum rewards. Now they've added in some new companies. And so there's an updated list on their website that I can show you here. I didn't have a perfect list before before. I thought I did have like a perfect list of who all was in there before. I don't have that. So all I can say for sure is that there's some new companies added, and it gives us some more options as M1 credit card users. Oh, you know what? Here's a good way to see the updated companies that are new on this list, because they'll be the ones that aren't in my portfolio. Haha. I can see here that the 4 new companies are BP, Chevron, Exxon, and Spectrum. And the first 3 of those are at the 5% cashback level, and the bottom one is at the 2.5%. So if we need to buy gas, we go to those stations, get some more rewards. That's good. And I also need to add those to my portfolio so that I actually get the rewards. The 7th update is an addition of something called ADRs that you can now invest in. And ADR stands for American Depository Receipts. This is something that I had never even heard of. I didn't know what this was. M1 seemed to think that we would care, but I had to try and figure out what this was. ADRs are securities that represent 1 or more shares of a non-US company. And so the reason that we would care about this is they exist to give US investors like me access to foreign stocks that I otherwise wouldn't be available to access. And so we can't invest in these companies in a traditional way because they don't necessarily meet all the requirements to list on a US stock market exchange. So this way we get access to it. If we want to invest in international companies, they get access to our money, which is nice because then they raise that capital they need to do business. Everyone's happy. A few of these that are available now are Roche Holding Limited, Tesco PLC, and Nestle SA. There's a bunch more, so if you want to see more, then go ahead and check out the list on M1 Finance's website. All right, now let's check on the actual rewards percentage that I've gotten by using the M1 Finance owner's card and see if it's stacking up. The last time I did this math, I was getting what I thought was kind of shortchanged and not getting enough rewards. So let's see. In doing this calculation, I've learned that I really wish they had like an Excel export feature because they don't. So I'm adding up every month's full statement payment and I'm gonna do the math. All right, drum roll please. The total amount of money I've spent with the M1 Finance Owner's Rewards Card is $20,240. And the total rewards I've gotten so far are $405.12. So if we do that math in Google Sheets, of course, then that means I've averaged exactly 2.00% rewards. Not that great. Not that awesome, honestly. I mean, if we're gonna talk about credit card churning efficiency, you'll do better signing up for new cards, getting that initial spend bonus, and taking away $200 or $250 cash every time and not have to deal with this, because this is not the most exciting way to get credit card rewards. I still like the card. I like that the rewards go straight to an investment instead of into my pocket to just spend. And so I like the responsibility that that imbues on me. Is that the right word? But it's not the best rewards. 2% for me is not that great. I think for you, the way that you would know that this is a great card for you is if you really want to use it for some of those top tier areas, like all of your gas and your airline tickets and your Lululemon pants or something, you buy through the M1 Finance card. But as an everyday card, to expect to get really great rewards for everything all the time, probably not gonna happen. That's it for the updates so far. I appreciate you being here, and because you've made it to this point, you get the secret comment word for today, which is A1. People will think that if you type A1 in a comment, like, I love to put A1 steak sauce on my sandwich, they'll be like, that was a typo. Someone meant to be writing about M1 instead of A1. But no, you and I will know. The secret is between you and I, because you made it to the end of the video, and I appreciate that literally more than you know. This is my first video back in about a month, and I apologize for that, but I've been working on some stuff on the side that I think you're really gonna like, and I've also got COVID. So you can still hear that in my voice. I'm still trying to kick it, but it's been kind of a long, crazy 4 weeks away, and I've missed you guys. So thank you for being here. Thank you for coming back, and I'll see you in a lot more videos very, very soon.